Okay. So guys, yesterday we saw the theory plus the basics, how we, go through the scenarios of the flows. Okay. When to go for what. So today we will go with all the scenarios. So yesterday you guys understood the elements which are there in the fast field update and which are there in action on related records. Okay. You went through all the elements. And you also went through when to use fast field update, when to use action on related records. So fast field update is nothing but when you are doing an operation on the same record. Okay, or you can say things are getting on the same object. So you can use fast field update. And if there are times when you want to do some automation on second object record, okay, then you will be using the action on related record. And even like email you want to send, you will definitely go with after. You want to send, anything like you want to call Apex class, you would go with the after case. Okay. So these are the things which you guys have to always, keep in mind. Okay, so you guys should not have any doubt on that part. Okay, the next thing is
So,
how.
uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
during during project, like whatever the task has been assigned to us, so who will be deciding which flow we need to do, like
You guys would be
fast field
deciding that.
update? We need to decide, right?
Exactly. You guys will get the requirement, and then you guys have to decide which flow you have to, write,
Mm-hmm.
and how you have to write. Okay, so it would
Okay.
be purely your responsibility. Okay, and they will give you requirement. You can question about the requirement, but when it comes to design, it's you guys have to build it based on your knowledge. That is the reason the flow is very important.
Okay.
Any question? Any other question, guys? If you guys will ask more question, you guys will get more clarity on flows, because interviewer may start with flows and may end up with flows. That is also there, because flows is the most important automation, and an admin should know. If you don't know okay, other things well, but if you know flow very well, you will be selected. So that's the reason flow is very important. Okay. So let's take the use case. Okay. Okay. So next is let's take a scenario. So whenever you are going to create a brand record, I repeat, the scenario is yesterday, which we discussed. Whenever you are going to create a brand record, and if account is populated, which means if account is filled, and whenever you save a record, so your type should be changed to old. Okay. So if I save it right now, if you see the type is, if I go to detail, the type is still new. But as soon as I save it, the type should have been changed to old. So that is our scenario. Okay. So now to practice this scenario, okay. So if you guys try to understand this, okay, whenever you insert a record, at that moment, one second. So whenever you guys insert a record, at that moment, the type would be changed to old if account is populated. So you have to break the requirement, guys, basically. Okay. Let me, you know, tell you guys how you guys have to understand the requirement first. Okay. So this is first thing is the requirement first. Okay. So let's suppose the BA gave you a requirement. Okay. Whenever, okay, whenever brand record is created, okay, whenever brand record is created and account is populated on it, then then type should be old. So this is the requirement, guys. Okay. So from this requirement, you guys have to understand. Okay. What you have to understand is you have to break this requirement is, okay. First, you have to understand the object name. Object name on which you guys going to write the trigger, or you can say flow.
Progress.
So if I go above, okay, if you guys see, I wrote first class, I go to first class, okay. In first class, I told you guys what all are the options when you write a record trigger flow. You see, these were the options, okay. So these things you have to divide, okay. Basically, any requirement, if it is going to record trigger flow, you have to first see which object, okay. So as I told you guys, the object would be selected on which automation will be there. Automation will be there. Okay. Based on automation, you guys have to understand which object. Okay. Insert, update, delete. These are, as I said again, okay, triggering points. So you guys have to understand from the requirement what is the triggering point. Okay. From requirement, you guys have to understand this. Okay. Understand triggering point. Okay. Then condition. This is most important, guys. Okay. You should guys know the condition. Okay. What, based on what condition it will run? Based on what condition your flow will work. Okay. Without condition, you cannot, make the flow properly. So you have to find that. Then comes the context variable. Okay. Which means, is it a fast field update? Fast field update or action on related record. You guys have to understand from the requirement, action on related record, and keep repeating. You have to understand from the requirement. Okay. So these four things, let's try to understand from the requirement. It says when brand record is created. Okay. So it means the object is brand because you are doing an event on the brand. Okay. And event is create. So object will be brand. So this is how you can easily understand where the automation is starting from, which object. Somebody may say whenever a student is inserted, okay, then add a roll number to it. So it means a student is object and the operation is insert. Okay. So that's how you have to understand. So here brand is the object as far as our requirement. Operation, if you guys see, the operation above is created. Okay. Created. So it means this is a insert operation. Okay. So insert. Okay. Create is nothing but the insert. If I would have told if a brand is updated, so operation would have been update. If I would have said whenever a brand is created and updated, the operation would be create and update both. If I would have told if brand record is deleted, then the operation would have been delete. So that's how you have to understand. Now come account is populated on it. So it means this is a mandatory thing. Mandatory thing means condition. Without this, you cannot go ahead and write this flow. Okay. So as I told, account should be there. So it means account should have value. So this is the condition. Account should not be null. Okay, like in validation rule, you guys have seen, right? Null, it should not be null. It should have value, the same thing. Now comes the triggering point. Okay, sorry, the context variable. Whether you have to go with fast field update or you have to go with action related records. Now you have to understand the last point from here. So where the action is going to happen. So you have to understand where the action is going to happen. Where the action is going to execute it. Okay. So you see action is on the same record where you are updating the type. So type is on same record, right? You have seen this type is on same record. Account is also in same record. Type is also on same record. So that is the reason it is fast field update. Any question? Any question, Ruchi, Kunal? Okay, I take it as no, but okay, go through this once again, okay, in the recording and just see what all I have understood. So now once you have all these things, now you can do very fast, like which object, as you know, first is which type of flow, because it's like a event based. Okay, as I told, whenever the created, updated, deleted, so it means these are event based flows. Event based flow means record trigger flow, because you have to capture the event. Okay, so as soon as I select create, so the record trigger flow, you have to ask for object. So as I told, object, as far as the requirement, you selected brand, it is created. Condition right now, as I told you guys in the last class, don't give the condition on the initial point. We will create a decision and then we will get the condition. Okay, we'll follow this practice as a best practice to design these flows. Reason being, so that we don't need to create a separate flows for every small requirement. We can manage them in the same flow. So fast field update is around, this is the next. Okay, so that is the 4th point. It's done. Now to give the 3 point, as I told you guys, condition, you have to use the decision. So decision is only used to maintain the condition. Now you have to give the name. So here the condition was account should be there. Account should not be null. Should not be null. Okay, you can give a little bigger or smaller, that's fine initially. Okay, you should know what the decision is used for. Okay, so account should not be null. So it's saying yes. So now, so this is just to make you understand, decision has a 2 options: label, API name, which is nothing but the name. Second is outcome details. Okay, in outcome details, you have to give the outcome name. Okay, so it means this name will uniquely identify this outcome. You can add any number of outcome, guys. Okay, you have this plus icon. You can add any number of outcomes. But the thing is, only one outcome will be executed at a time. I repeat, if you have 10 outcomes here, okay, which means 10 separate conditions, 10 different, you can say you have one tree. Okay, think like that. So you have a flow equal to a one tree, and it can have multiple branches. Okay, so that's where the decision is all about. You can create multiple outcomes, which is nothing but the multiple branches, and in those branches you can have a different leaves. Okay, some branch could be small, some branch could be bigger, all that. Okay, so same thing, just compare the decision with that. So outcome is yes. Yes is just any name you can give. This is an option. This is an option. Any name you can give. But it should be meaningful. Now comes the condition. So as I told you guys, condition you guys would have to give it here. So record. So record variable. Okay. Now we will see this record variable is nothing but the new record which you are creating. This new record. So this content, okay, this data which is coming after you click on save button. Let's suppose you have filled this. When you are clicking save button, this data which you see on this page is coming in this record variable. Okay, the new data, you can say the new version of record is coming in this particular variable. This is a global variable given by Salesforce. So the data is coming in this variable. So let me write this in the notes. Okay, so there's something called record variable. Okay, to store current version of data. Okay, so you can read this data from this. Okay, whatever data you have filled here, you can read it, and it is like before insert. Okay, before it is saved to database. So it is not yet saved to database. You can read it, whatever is coming. Okay, there is something called record prior. Okay, this is also a variable. You will see when you will doing an update to store old version of record. Okay, so this is to store the old version of records. Sometimes you have to check, okay, if old type was new, then only change it to old. Okay, at that moment you would be using the prior variable. Okay, so are you guys clear with this record variable and prior record variable? Right now you can't see prior record variable because it is before insert. Before insert, prior record variable is not there because old record will not be there, right? It is not yet inserted. Okay, so I can say that before insert, before insert, it will be blank. It will be null, or it will not be there, or it will not be there. So you can say that way. Okay. Before insertion, prior record is never there. Okay. So far we are good. Now I'll go with record. And as I told you guys, this once you click on the record variable, you will be able to see the fields of the record. So these are the field of your, object. Okay. So as I told you guys, here you will see these are called lookup fields. Wherever you see arrows, these are lookup field or relationship fields, guys. Okay. So account is a relationship field, contact, then created by, last modified by. These two are given by Salesforce. These two are the custom ones. Okay. If you see __ R means relationship. So if you want to check the related fields, you can click on it, and now you will go to the next level. These are account fields, guys. Okay, these are field of account object. So whenever you want to check, like account ka owner is somebody else, at that moment you want to do some automation. Okay, I repeat, in new brand, whichever account is selected, its owner name is Kunal, then update the type to old. So at that moment, you will be using the next level fields. Okay, but for now, we don't have that next level. Okay, we'll keep the requirement simple. This is the account, this is a field. So just select this field. Now you have to check operator. Operator, you have equal, does not equal, start with, end with, contains. These are all self-explanatory. Was set means if any time it was set once, then it will be always true. Okay. We can say if once the account was set, do this. So at that moment, you can use was set. Is null is something which is asking you whether it is null or not. In our case, as per as the requirement, it says account is populated on it. So it means account is null, false. So there is a global constant, guys. Okay. If I remove it, if you see, there are few constants. Okay. False, true. So you have to use these false and true. Okay. Whenever you want to check is null true, so it will be true here. Select this. If false, select this. Okay. These all are the variables, the global variables. If you see record is here. Okay. Other are like profile, permissions. If you have all this, label, custom label, we'll see later. Flow variables. Let's suppose you want to see current date and all that. User details, user role details, you can get them here. So is null false? It means it should not be null. Click on done. So it means your decision is created. Okay. So if you see, if outcome is one, right? This one outcome, and there is a default outcome, this one. Okay. So this default outcome is nothing but if none of the outcome is executed, then default is executed. As simple as that. So I have renamed it as no. Okay. Account should not be null. Then it will come here. If it is null, it will come here, guys, and it will end. Now, as I told you guys last time, now when it comes to fast field update, guys, I'll keep one more note. Remember this, guys, this is very important. Fast field update. If you want to update any record, okay, then use assignment element. Okay. If you want to update current record, okay, I'll say if you want to update current record, not any record, current record, okay, then use assignment element. Okay. Don't use update element. Don't use update element. Okay. So with assignment only, you will be able to do the update. Okay. Update element should not be used. Reason being, it will be counted under limit. Okay. And it is not used. I mean, it is not, it is allowed though. Okay. For some cases, but since it is counted under limit, so don't do the update on this. Okay. Use assignment. So there is an assignment variable. So you will learn how to use it. Click on assignment, give the name. Okay. Just give the name as update type to old. So give the name as update type to old. Self-explanatory, guys. Okay. Description, you can keep it blank. Variable. So you have which, if you see set variables, each variable is modified by the operator and the value combination. So whatever variable you will give, that would be modified with this value. As simple as that. So as I told you guys, you have to update the type field, so which is there in the record variable. Okay, type will be there in the record variable, and then equals to, okay. If you see the operator, there is two operator, equal and add. Add means you can add more values, like if there are multiple pick list values and you want to update more values, then you can use add. But most of the time it is equal to, okay. And now what value you want to put? So if you see the pick list, whenever you have a pick list at the left side, in the right side, you will get the options directly. You don't need to type it, or you can type it. That is also fine, like OLD, but you have to make sure you are typing it correctly. You should not do a mistake, okay, spelling mistake, else it will fail. Or you can pick it directly from here. So it's like a pick list option. If you see decision, we created whatever element we create, it keeps coming inside the box, okay. So you don't need to worry, but you can review them, like, okay, decision you created above, then you are able to see here, these are already given by Salesforce. So old, done. So this is your flow, guys. Whenever the account is populated, update the type to old. So this is your flow. After you are good with this flow, click on save button. Okay, give the name. The naming standard should follow like this, guys. Okay, this is very, very good practice. Okay, if you are starting with basic, start with very good basics. Okay, so now the name would be object name. New brand is object name, and then it is fast wheel update. So just say before save. Okay, this is the best practice which you guys have to follow whenever you are writing any flow. Okay, because this is something which is like a global, or you can say journal name, which can have multiple automation accommodated in the same flow. I'll teach you guys how to do that also. So you don't need to write separate flows for every requirement, every small requirement. Okay, because that would increase a lot of flows in your system, and you will not be able to handle them very efficiently. Rather than that, if there are small flows, okay, which are you are doing, you know, a quick requirement, create a flow like before save, after save, and then that's all. So this is what you can save it. So this is the name which you have given it. As soon as you save it, guys, don't forget to activate it. Okay, without activate, it won't work. Okay, so you have to activate also. So once you activate it, now come back here. If you see, I moved put type as new. This value I've updated. Clicking save, I should be able to see type as old. You see, type is automatically changed to old. So that is how the automation works. Okay, this is our first scenario, guys. Okay, just make sure you go through this last 3 classes well. Okay, we will do more scenarios in the next class. Okay, but you guys should know the basics, as I said. Okay, thank you.